Hey legends, massive episode for you today. We have a former NBL champion on, Pistol Peter Hooley. He won a chip with Melbourne United. We got him on today to review the NBA season and the NBA finals between the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics. He's one of the smartest men going around. Great basketball IQ. You might see him around covering all the NBL across Australia. He's also got an incredible story from his collegiate career where he hit a game winner. His college notoriety is something else to be heard. It was a wonderful episode. We go through the intricacies of the NBA, what it's like to be a professional basketball player, the ups and downs. And of course, as I said, we go through the NBA season, which was a lot of fun. Let's get into it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of the Unlaced podcast. As I always say, if you are new here, thank you for turning up. If you've come back again, I absolutely love you. Massive show. There's been a big few weeks of sport. We've had the NBA finals, the European Championships are on. I mean, where do you start? But I felt we haven't done much basketball content for a while. And I've got one of the great men across the NBL and the basketball, or basketball in general in Australia, with me today. He rained three-pointers like JJ Redick. He might even rain a three in here for all we know. But my good mate, Peter Pistol Hooley, how are you, brother?
Mate, I'm good, and thank you for that intro. You know why? Because you didn't say start. Nothing pisses me off more, right, when people they talk about anyone who's played the game or whatever sport it is, and they're like, we've got so-and-so, we've got the star of so-and-so.
Oh, you're a role player.
Not star in my role, though. Star. That's different.
Can you actually define your role to me? Because
where, though?
Okay, I want to go into, so for people that don't know Pistol's background, he played in college, played overseas, but the most sort of famously, you won an NBL championship for Melbourne.
Yeah.
So I want to know your role for Melbourne United when you won it.
Well, famously would probably be college. That would probably be more notoriety.
Oh, okay. Let's go notoriety first. Are you building yourself up?
Well, no, that would be, again, that was a star. Like I was putting the ball in the basket. That was
right.
my
So
go-to guy. Yeah, go-to guy in college for
so
sure.
you were a stud.
Yeah. Out of that, went to England. That was a completely different situation, but I'm sure we might talk about.
Where you're going into that.
And then we'd go, signed in like NBL 1 to Seaball.
Seaball, yep.
Below that, even Ballarat was a star for that, scoring a lot highlight because I wanted to get signed in the NBL. Got to Melbourne United, and my role was strictly to play D at a high level and pass the ball because I wasn't going to be the superstars, and I knew that. And if I wanted to be on an NBL roster, at the time when how many spots were left, there was only a couple teams. Because I had originally was going to sign with the Crocs, Townsville Crocodiles. They folded and ended up didn't have much choice and kind of got lucky in the end. And so I was like, okay, how do I get on this team? And I was like, I've just got to be a dog defensively, and I've got to get the ball to Chris Golding and go sign that way.
Isn't that crazy that the higher you go, despite being a stud and being able to do things, your role gets restricted? Like, because you might be able to do what you could do in the NBL, but the coach says no. We've got a guy that can do that already.
It happens everywhere, man. And again, people, the common fan misses that. So the common fan, I think, if you watch every player wherever they play, you're sitting there thinking, why is this guy not doing so-and-so for Melbourne? Why is this guy not play? I've seen him play in the off-season, averages 30 a game, and then he gets to playing for Adelaide or whatever, and he's averaging 10 minutes. What's going on? So many different things change. That's why they talk about starring in your role. And all I wanted to do was win a championship, and we did it.
See, that's similar to AFL because people are like role-based players, but you still have players that can kind of fluctuate and do what they want. Whereas in soccer, you've got a role, but like you have the creative freedom. With basketball, there's literally everyone on the court, if they played any league lower, would be the go-to guy. But as soon as they play in that top team, it's like you become a role player. I never thought of that.
And it happens in certain jumps, right, in every single level because people talk about it now with like the NBA guys going to the Olympics. So you've got the superstars, Team USA, for instance, right? So they've got Steph, they've got LeBron, they've got KD, they've got Devin Booker. They've got all these superstars who are their go-to guys. Once they get to Team USA, that hierarchy changes. There's only going to be two of them.
Damn.
They've got to figure it out. And then someone else is going to drop down a little bit of the hierarchy and so. And that's how it works on different levels. So it is a big adjustment unless you're just one of the best in the country you're in. No matter where you go, you'll always be that. It takes a lot of adjusting.
You had 3-point range though? Like every time I've heard people speak about your basketball career or looked you up, and when we did, and I'll explain, like for the people that don't know how we met, we are both ambassadors for Dabble who are supporting this show. Thank you, Dabble. Wearing their colours, but
like that.
Yeah, so we did. You came on Jake's Take with the stream we do weekly on a Wednesday, and I put a question out for a cash giveaway, like give me the most interesting facts around Pistol, and everything was around like you hitting a three.
Yeah.
So I've just like had this that you're a shooter.
I mean, I was. I mean, I look at college and everything in terms of Shooter, yes, but I was a very obscure scorer. I'll say that, and a lot of my teammates would agree because a lot of the crap I do, man, it's like running hook shots and like weird floaters and stuff. And again, I don't know why
you can make those too.
Yeah. And a lot of people like these shots are just outrageous. But I was like, that's what I kind of practice. I was never the most athletic. Yes, I could dunk, but like I was never going to dunk on anybody. I was never going to outrun anybody. So I just kind of tried to score in unique ways.
That's awesome.
I didn't have the best ball handling, so it was just like, what would separate me from everybody else? And I was like, well, I don't see too many other point guards rolling around doing running hooks, running away from the hoop. So I was like, look, I'm going to start doing those. I'm going to start doing more floaters and crazy shots like that. And when they don't come off, you look like an idiot. But the more you practice it, the more you get better at it.
Wow, I want to go into our last few weeks together because we had a crazy. Jeez. I don't even know what it was. 24 hours. And I feel like we haven't really documented it because, like, how would we?
Yeah.
Like, it was a weird experience. But Dabble had a company kind of getaway in Kingscliff, which we landed in the Gold Coast just for a day. We were there for, like, to speak.
We thought we were in the Gold Coast the whole time.
Yeah, we thought we were in the Gold Coast the whole time because we went in a car for 20 minutes to the hotel. But we were actually in New South Wales.
Yeah.
Because I was having a vape in a building, and the lady came over to me. She goes, "You can't do that in New South Wales." I go,
but walk 10 meters that way, you can do it.
I'm like, I'm in Queensland, aren't I?
Yeah.
And
crazy.
she goes, "No, you're in New South Wales." So that was unique. But like, how would you describe DabbleCon? Because that's what it's called, and it was an unbelievable 24 hours.
Yeah, it was. I wish we were there the whole time. So when I got asked, I think you did as well. Yeah. I thought it was like a questionnaire, and it was like everyone's going, but it was a 3-day thing, and they said, "Do you want to go for the whole thing?" And I was like, I mean, we're not employees, but yeah, bloody oath, I'll come for the whole thing.
We thought even when we were like a week out, we were going for the whole thing,
and then we got told we're getting flown up on the day of going to a big all the employees dinner. We're going to be on a panel. We're going to have a little chat there and then have a good time. And that's exactly what we did. We got in there. They were already in a conference or in a meeting or something. And
which, by the way, we had the option to go listen to like a legend of mindset go speak.
We were late to it though. I didn't want to crash it halfway.
I don't even want to say the person because I feel like I was Ben Crow, but like we had the option to go see Ben Crow talk.
Yeah.
And we chose to go to the pokies and have a punt and have a beer because like we were on tour. Lads on tour. Lads on tour.
That seems like, I mean...
It feels like a terrible life decision, but at the time, it's just...
Is it more... I think it's a hindrance like to walk into a Ben Crow halfway through when everyone else is already nearly changing their mindset or their outlook on life, and we roll in halfway through and be like, hey, can you catch me up with what Benny said for the first 30 minutes?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And we had an airport beer too, so we would have been in some form.
Where does the airport beer rank for you in your like sort of... I think I've said it's my number one.
Is it?
But I think I'll change that to it's a top 3.
No, it's a top 3. It's not my number one.
I don't know what my number one is because I'm thinking about the airport beer just does something to you. We spoke about having an airport beer, and by the way, we flew up at I reckon it was like 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Yeah.
And we ended up seeing Archie Dobson in the airport, and he's seen me having a beer at 9 a.m.
Yeah, good look.
And Archie's completely sober. So I just felt like, oh no, the one person
you knew what we were getting into.
Yeah, I didn't want him to see me.
I think my favourite beer, now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably put more thought into it, is... Now, I'm a dad, so this is different right now. Because it would be different a few years ago.
It changes.
The 11:59 a.m. sun out beer. The before midday beer, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm a big day drinker now. I need to be in bed at a reasonable time, otherwise it's chaos.
Yeah.
To be able to get that one down without feeling like, geez, who's drinking a beer at breakfast? But also, it's lunchtime. Let's get after it. Oh, that hits different, man.
That's great.
The 11:59 a.m. beer.
11. Yeah. Any beer.
You'd understand what that tastes like, but you'd be on the next day of the 11:59.
Yeah. That's my issue. I've got to I've got to have a few days apart.
Yeah.
It's an issue we're working on. Mate, so this is why I want to bring up DabbleCon is what we didn't touch on. I'm not going to go into there's some things
chaos,
some chaos that's probably we're not allowed to speak about. But what I did want to speak about was the casino.
Great idea.
So we had this company dinner. We went on a panel. We had a chat. There was free drinks. Drinks were flowing. Dabble's this incredible company of everyone knows everyone. They've got in their Slack channel, they've got a lawn porn. So on one of the quizzes we did, they knew people's lawns.
Backyards and stuff.
Yeah, that's how...
I respect that.
Yeah, that was this. Everyone's clued in with each other. But we were drinking, and then everyone's like, we're going to go back. They've got a casino.
Yeah.
Which was kind of like a fake casino, but it had karaoke, it had all these games, it had blackjack. I think only poker was real money.
Yeah, because you're playing against other people.
And then obviously drinks.
And it was very small money too, but it didn't feel like it,
the
right?
lighting was like
$2, $5.
The lighting was dark and dingy and purple, and it was like $2.
It was fun.
And we were just sitting there like having drinks like, we were in Melbourne like 12 hours ago. Yeah. How are we in a fake casino?
The kicker with all of this is that it was a bloody Tuesday.
Yeah, it was too. It was midweek. I had to come back into a stream the next day.
It's a Tuesday night, and we're just rolling around at Kingscliff at a hotel.
Yeah.
No, it was fun. I'm ready to go next year too.
Yeah. We're going back to DabbleCon. Yeah. Shout out Dabble for that. Mate, we've got to go into a bit of your career because we've touched on that you did win a chip in the NBL, which, I don't know, it seems like from the outside your career might not have been the easiest road.
Yeah.
Which probably took some character to get through, but particularly, I probably want to go from like when you knew basketball was you, and then how the college connection came in, because two sides to that, like on the court experience, but also want to know what the fucking college is like, because that's like one of my biggest regrets, not going to like college.
Yeah, it's it's a lot easier now for people, right? I look at the younger generation now, and even the last few years with the Aussies, in not just basketball but any sport, you can get to college a lot easier. It was harder back then. So this was around 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
I knew basketball was probably going to be the thing for me. I knew, but probably when I was 17, 18. So I'm talking around 2007.
When did you have your growth spurt?
So I was always Division 2. I mean, I played under 14 state, and then I have a twin sister. She was better than me, and I was Division 2 until...
Which is crazy to me. That's like that was another well-known fact that came up. She was a baller.
Yeah, she was a bucket.
A bucket.
And then I think I was Division 2 until under 18s when I started to have a growth spurt, and I was playing for the Nord Flames in Adelaide, and the Division 2 coach and the Division 1 coach were brothers. Oh, and they said to each other, so you need to take Pete Division 1, like he's ready to break out. Kind of broke out there, made the under 18 state team, made both under 20 state teams.
Wow.
And that's where I was like, I want to go to college. But again, when I said I wanted to go to college, we barely had college basketball on TV back then, right? In 2010. And I was a Duke fan. I was a JJ Redick fan. Yeah. Love watching that because that's the game. You only saw Duke in Kentucky, man.
Yeah.
Or Kansas. Like you didn't see any other schools.
UConn maybe.
Maybe. Kemba. Matthew Dellavedova was playing for St. Mary's, Paddy Mills.
We did see some St. Mary's games back then.
But there was no other real Aussies over in college.
True.
And there had been some, obviously, like Gazy was at Seton Hall and stuff, but it wasn't an easy pathway to get to.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'd love to experience college. And in my head, I'm like, I know a couple of guys who are in Division 2. I just want to go over there, D2, let me experience it. Let's see what it's like. My dad and mum paid for a recruiting service. So it was $5,000 each for me and my sister. I remember this is the time they paid the bloke. He said, he'll cut up tape and do all this.
Wow.
Sent it away. As soon as dad paid him the $10,000, never heard from him again.
Oh my God.
Took off. No one ever heard from him again. So I was like, well, there goes
oh my God. He deserves to be in a fucking striped jumper with a mask.
There goes my college dream, right? Played the under 20s as a top age player. And there was an assistant coach at the school I ended up going to who was Australian, who just left, or his name was Phil Collins, not related.
Okay.
And he ended up putting my name on. I had a really good tournament and put my name on to the head coach at the time, and I got a text saying, would be interested to talk about a scholarship. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I'd love to visit, right? You're supposed to go visit. This is New York. I don't know what's going on here. Division 1 school. And they said, we probably don't have time to organise a visit. So I chatted to my old man. There was already another Aussie there. And I said, let's just take a punt at it.
Fuck yeah.
Let's go. It's upstate New York. It's the capital of New York. First thing I heard too when I heard New York was, oh man, I'm in Times Square, baby.
Bro, I want to sign the dotted line pretty quick too.
Albany is not in Manhattan. It is 2.5 hours north.
Dude, was that a culture shock?
Yeah, for sure.
Damn.
And so I ended up just taking like a blind punt and going up to upstate New York, which was, it ended up being a dream come true, but we'll talk a bit more about college, as you said. But it's funny because I ended up then, in between getting recruited and the guy running away with the money, I started just sending emails to random coaches I'm finding on the internet. I'm just Googling things and names I hear from schools that may have been interested in me at some point. And I emailed someone from St. Rose, the coach from St. Rose, and I don't think he wrote back. I think he kind of left me on red. And this is a Division 2 school in New York. My school that I ended up going to and having won 3 titles with and all the success 5 minutes down the road from that school. And I met the coach in my 4th year, and he said it's the biggest regret he's ever had not replying to my email.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
So good.
That is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
That is, bro, New York to me is probably one of the most fascinating cities I've ever been to.
You've been?
Yeah. Last year I went with some friends and I was supposed to come back after like a week or two. I extended for 3 more weeks.
Manhattan.
Dude, it was the only place I've ever met, like I've met a girl in the street and we were talking and it's like, what are you doing now? And then all of a sudden we're on a date.
Yeah.
It's just what happens in New York. You can literally see 100 different things in a block. Like,
the city doesn't sleep.
Yeah, I don't know, the population too, like I try to explain to people, it's like, I don't know, it's like 9 to 10 million or something.
Well, you extending it proves that it's also not cheap to get a hotel at this.
Well, no, I was fortunate.
Right.
I was fortunate.
You're doing all right.
Stayed with a friend who had a place. Yeah. That was a privilege.
There you can do new things every 2 hours.
Yeah, and everything, the whole experience. So, what was it like on there? Like,
well, that's not Albany though, because Albany's 2 hours, 2.5 hours north on the train.
So yeah, what's Albany like?
Albany. I mean, I grew up in a country. I'm from like Harndorf, South Australia, so wine
beer country.
Yeah,
is that wine town?
Well, there's good wineries there too.
That explains your performance on the drink.
Yeah, and so I grew up there, Germantown. And it was very similar, I guess, for me because like there's no pro team around Albany. The closest major team is Syracuse University. What? So again, you kind of just all eyes are on you as a Division I school.
Yeah.
So no, it was cool, man. Like I think back and I wouldn't have changed that whole experience for the world. Basketball's one thing, but you talk about off the floor, like college. Tuesday and Thursday nights were $1 beer night at a couple of the pubs. And because I went older, I had a gap year. I think I only had to wait 8 to 10 months.
Oh, this is Albany now. Braid's got it up in the.
So
it's actually like a little kind of.
There's a giant egg. I've never actually been. Actually, no, I think I watched a comedy show.
What's the population there? Is it like a small? It kind of seems like a remote sort of area. It looks beautiful though. It's like very green. 100,000.
Yeah.
Wow, and you're around the corner from like a 15 million people city.
Yeah, 2 hours south. But it's again, it was fun, like $1 beer night and everything like that. And again, it's funny. So my school as a whole, the University at Albany, is iconic for. We had probably the most fire drills that a school would ever have. Our school was 98.5% concrete, and we would have the most fire drills of all time, and it was a piss take because we're like, if this place goes up in flames, nothing's burning. It's all concrete now.
Oh, right. Okay.
Nothing's going anywhere.
Right.
But yeah, $1 beer night.
Great time.
I remember going there the first time, and I was like, I'll get the round. I'll come back with like 10 Bud Lights. Oh. And everyone's like, dude, like, what are you doing? I was like, mate, this is $10. I mean, you got to tip $1 and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, this is not like home.
And it is Bud Light. I mean, you got to get that part through your head.
Yeah, it's water.
Yeah, it's water.
You feel hydrated after 10.
But man, there's some of the best off-court experience. And it gives you, again, why I never regret it. You have no choice but to grow up.
Yeah. So how old were you when you went?
I would have been 19, turning 20 later in the end of the
So you're kind of like, you're turning into a man.
Yeah.
So like, that's a cool age to do it as well.
I'd always lived with my family. We lived in the countryside. So it was like, lucky there was other Aussies that I could kind of get adjusted with. I broke my foot in my third game in, which was an adjustment completely.
Oh, wow.
Playing in the Carry Dome, Syracuse, Dion Waiters ends up winning a title with Lakers in the bubble. I think he was there.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he definitely
stepped on my foot, broke my foot.
Wow.
Sat out the whole year. So being on crutches and a moon boot in like minus 15 degrees, snow and everything was horrific. So this is actually, I don't think I've told many people this story that when they asked about college. My first experience, we had to do summer school. So we got over there early. We were going on a Canada trip. Every 4 years you can go on an international trip. And I remember walking, they took us to what's going to be like our summer school dorm. And it was me and the 2 other Aussies. There was 3 of us. And this thing was huge. And I was like, there's 3 beds. I was like, this is epic. This is what I expected. Like the dining hall's there. We do all of this. Our school was set up with a square. So there's the dorms at each corner. The middle is a giant fountain. They used to have a party there every year, but that got cancelled the year before I got there. Everything else is spread around. They got some other housing and everything. And I was like, this is going to be sick. We went to Canada, played in Canada, 4 games in like 10 days. That was an unbelievable experience. Montreal is one of my favorite places in the world.
Do they speak French, Montreal?
Yeah,
like,
that was. I had no idea.
Yeah, that still shocks me about Canada.
And again, you learn all this. Like I've come from Handorf, and we're rolling over to Montreal, and these people are speaking a different language. And I was like, we're not in France. What's going on?
We're in Europe. Yeah.
I was like trying to speak French to all the nightclubs. They weren't nightclubs. You can put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
And so then eventually we came back and we got into. I was in state quad, which is like the freshman quad we called it. Walk in when I tell you that me and the power forward from Aussie who were going to be rooming together, we could not have our single bed side by side because you couldn't walk down. There was a giant pole in the middle of our room, and I was like, I can't live here for the next 8 months.
A giant pole.
I was like, I'm out. You cannot possibly put me in this room. Like, this is not the experience I
so
thought.
you threw the toys out the cot?
Mate, they had to turn into bunk beds. We had bunk beds for the first year. Thankfully, we had
a bunk bed.
A bunk bed with another bloke in as a freshman on the basketball team.
As a 20-year-old man.
And thankfully, we went out. So I would have been one of the first nights we went out in the summer school period. We went out and we met 2 girls. He just had a kid with one. He got married with her. He started dating her very shortly after that. They were roommates. So he spent a lot of time with her because she was in another part which had more space, and she was a local Albany woman. Great chick. And I was just like, wow, we're in college. You've met the first girl on her first night out, and you're going to just lock this one in. Fair play.
I love it.
But I had the bunk beds in the dorm, and I was like, this is going to be a struggle.
That's like a scene out of Step Brothers or some shit. Like,
and then thankfully he wasn't there as much because he's a power forward, he's a big unit.
Yeah, he was getting around town.
And then, after that it got a lot better. You got your own room eventually. And
good.
So, yeah.
Well, so you've got a bit of a college legend about you because of your on-field or on-court performances. Can you take us into this notoriety that you have from your collegiate career? Because I don't want you to be humble here as well. I want you to really hammer this home because there's still a bit of education that I need on this. This has all come to me in the past few weeks when people were searching facts. All I knew about you is you played for Melbourne United, you played in the Seabull, you played in England, which was a really unique place, which we're going to have to touch on. But I didn't know about your college notoriety.
Well, yeah. So again, I normally only like to talk about this in March, right? Because there's like an anniversary of this shot.
Was it March Madness?
No, it was to get to March Madness.
Oh, that's big.
So Albany is a D1 school, but it's a low major. So in your conference, I can't remember how many conferences are. There's heaps, but we have to win our conference if you want to play in March Madness. Right. We're not the Kansas. We're not that if you don't win your conference tournament, if you're still good, you're still good at seeding in the team.
Right. So is that like borderline a grand? What was the college called you were at?
Albany.
So was that borderline like a grand final for you to make it into March Madness?
Yeah, it was a championship game. So I've got 3 rings. I should have brought them in for you.
What?
The reason it became a big thing was, so obviously I broke my foot my first year. Right before I'd already committed and signed my letter of intent to go to Albany, my mum was diagnosed with bowel cancer.
Right.
And I wasn't going to go, and she kind of forced me to go, and there was a big thing about all of that. We thought she was good. We won. We lost on a heartbreaker that year. I was injured. We came back. We won the championship for the first time in 15 years. I was technically a freshman. Went and played Duke, played Seth Curry, played all this.
No way.
Lost in the first round. Reggie Miller was calling the game, said that I should be in the NBA, and I was like, let's relax, Reggie.
No way.
Yeah, wild.
Reggie Miller's
And I was like, Reggie, you're not even close here, Reggie.
Bro.
Not even close.
I actually equate Reggie and Cheryl Miller to you and your sister too, because like there's that story of like Reggie would hit like 80 points and get in the car, and his sister's like, well, I hit 100.
I think I had, as a freshman against like Seth Curry and Joe, I think I had like 13, I want to say 13, 6 and 8 or something as a freshman.
That's nice.
And again, people don't realize D1 basketball, if you average double figures in D1, you're good, man. Like, college basketball's hard.
It's relentless as well. It's quick. They don't use the clock in it as well, do they?
So we're doing a 35-second shot clock.
Yeah.
So it's slower. Second year, we won it again. And we just talked about the mascot thing. I hit a game winner in that championship game as well. It was 50 seconds to go. It was the last shot. Dropped a guy, nailed a 3. We won the championship back-to-back.
Oh my God.
My parents were supposed to be there for that with my sister for that game. My dad on the farm nearly chopped his hand off, and I got a photo of him in hospital with like half his hand nearly cut off. It was disgusting. My mum had a big scan for cancer, and my sister had shingles at the time. So all 3 of them couldn't get there.
Everything was going bad.
Hit that. That was big, obviously, emotions. And then during the next year, I get a call from Dad saying it's time to come home. Things don't look good with Mum. She ended up passing away.
Very sorry to hear, man.
January 31st. And 2 weeks later, I went back. We undefeated, hadn't lost. Of course, the first game you get back, what happens? Of course, you lose.
Oh, no, did you?
We go on a bit of a run. We make it. We still finish top with a team to beat. I'm still trying to get my legs back underneath me, and in that was the championship game. We play the championship games at 11 a.m. Saturday morning because it's on ESPN.
Right.
The smaller schools play first, and we hadn't hit a 3 all game. We were playing crap. I was obviously so nervous because we're trying to win 3 in a row, but everything that just happened with Mum.
Your headspace was gone as well.
Man.
Yeah.
They were up 7 with like a minute and a half to go.
Did being out on the court remotely help you through that experience? Or were you still,
Throughout the whole thing, though.
I found with whenever I've had troubles in life, that's one thing I love about sport. It's the only place that I somewhat kind of forget.
Yeah, it's a distraction.
Yeah,
as soon as you get on the court or touch a basketball,
it was a blessing in a way.
And my coach knew that too. That's why it was all like,
it's good for you to come out and play.
Which is why my dad took me straight back after Mum's funeral. He's like, I know you made promises to her, you got to get back. And I always thought, when I got back, my first training, like I couldn't miss. I was like, I'm ready to roll. And coach was like, let's just relax. And so I played through it all. And then again, we hadn't hit a 3 in the championship game. Down 7 with a minute and a half to go. Some guys made some big plays on our team, some big free throws. And then the guy from Stony Brook, our biggest rival, made the first to put them up 2 with like 9 seconds to go, missed the second. The play was supposed to be designed for me, but in my head, I'm like, I don't want to shoot and miss this, man.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I have not hit a 3 all game. We haven't hit a 3. Anyway, thankfully, one of my teammates broke it off and took an awful shot. He looks back on it now. He's like, what was that? And then one of their big men tipped it out. And I started running back ready to be like, damn, we lost. The entire away, because it was at our home floor, their away fans were ready to rush the floor. And then all of a sudden the ball landed in my hands. I just threw it up there and nothing but net, and we won on the buzzer.
Wow. Yeah. That's why everyone talks about there was like a spirit watching over the ball. Yeah. Now it makes sense.
Hey, man, and again,
like, was it a shot that you thought was going in out of the hand?
As soon as it left, because I just chucked it up there, and I remember like certain moments like become vivid in life, and I just literally watched this thing curve. Like I literally can remember sitting there, and that thing just was going like a banana, and I was like, what's going on here? And then nothing but net. And after that, I blacked out, man. You got 5,000 people jumping on top of you.
Oh my God! So you're a collegiate god.
Yeah, and it was insane. Like
that is so special.
And obviously, once it all calmed down, I just broke down everything because of what had transpired. But it was, regardless of what people believe in life, to be in a moment like that, there's something more.
It's hard to hit those heights.
Yeah.
In other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. That's fucking cool, man.
And that's why I was just like. There's something more out like that. Everything they had no timeout. Sorry, they couldn't call a timeout after I hit it. There was like 2 seconds to go. Everything lined up perfectly for that moment.
Yeah, the stars aligned.
And I was just like, "That's Mum."
Yeah, there you go, bro. Yeah. That's kind of like giving me goosebumps, bro.
And then just to top it all off, we went to TGI Fridays after because I was like, we're going to get on the piss to celebrate.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
And the bartender's like, oh yeah, like they were all watching. Everyone's giving you cheers as you walk into the TGI Fridays in Albany.
Oh, you're a god.
Lines up some shots, and then there's someone from the conference, like one of the bosses there, is just like, if you take that, you're going to lose your scholarship.
Oh wow!
And I was like, oh. No worries. Catch you later. Figure it out later. No.
You didn't do that.
I didn't wait until you left and then had it.
Yeah, okay, smart.
Because you can do anything you want now. Back then, if you took a ride with an assistant coach back then, you lose your scholarship.
Oh wow. Yeah, they're real strict, weren't they?
Yeah.
So guys, I've recently been taking a supplement from Organic Reflection. It's an Australian brand. It's making incredible health and wellness products for you all, your parents, and even your pets, which my dog Zyla is absolutely loving. Organic Reflection has developed a unique formula of C60 in MCT oil that helps reduce your inflammation, which obviously that thing that causes most diseases, a lot of injuries, and a lot of pain in your body. It's essentially helped to strengthen your immune system and improve your mental performance. So for me, particularly when I'm doing podcasts or have to do some research, it's definitely an oil that I like to take orally before that, just to help with my brain space and keep me on focus. If you guys haven't heard of it, C60 is a super small carbon molecule that won a Nobel Prize in 1996 and can enter the mitochondria of cells to enhance energy production. After reading Organic Reflection's product reviews, I thought it must be too good to be true. I did want to try it. I reached out to the brand to work with them, and fortunately these guys were absolutely awesome about it. There's stories of people not needing walking sticks and being cured of chronic injuries and chronic pains in their body, which is really, really unbelievable. I tried it, and honestly, holy shit, I noticed noticed improvements in my energy levels and mood, as I touched on, which is why I'm so passionate about sharing it for you guys. For me, there's nothing worse than feeling lethargic pre and post workouts or just in your day in general because you want to achieve your full potential. Organic Reflection C60 helps my recovery levels in that form. And it's not just for the gym bros and ladies. This magic formula helps improve skin, hair, and nails. Organic Reflection also have a C60 pet formula so your furry friends can enjoy the same revolutionary health benefits as you. As I said, Zyla's been having it. She's absolutely loving it. I mean, she's a gorgeous dog, so she loves everything. They also offer an anti-ADHD and an anti-procrastination brain nutrition supplement, which I'm really excited to try. I think the anti-ADHD they sent to me because they thought I was getting a bit wrinkly, but hey, I won't knock them for that. So guys, what are you waiting for? You know I don't promote too many brands on here. Get starting your journey to a healthier and happier you with Organic Reflection. You can check out their socials as well. Head to organicreflection.com and you can use the discount code UNLACED for 20% off and free shipping on your first order. Guys, get around them. It's a great team, great people doing genuinely great things to try and help the community get healthier. Most importantly, let's get back into the episode. Hey guys, just a quick pause in this episode to compliment our partners of the show. You guys know that I've been sponsored and supported by Dabble, the gambling agency, for a while now. This place has a special place in my heart because it is like the social network of gambling. You can follow superstars of the game, copy their bets. You might not know so much about a certain sport, but you can copy someone who does and increase your chances of winning some money. Obviously, if you're not a gambler, please only bet what you can and are willing to lose. Please dabble safely, gamble responsibly, as we always say. Just so you guys know, this year I've been taking over the streaming space at Dabble every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. Jake's Take is live. It is the wild, wild west of streaming. There's not too many sporting agencies or gambling agencies out there doing what we do. We put on a few bets throughout the show. We get some guests on. We have a lot of fun. It's all within the Dabble app. If you guys want to jump on board, the link is in the bio. Let's get back into the episode. Okay, so going off this, you've had Reggie Miller say you should be in the NBA. You're hitting like game winners.
Yeah.
So where was like, I mean, obviously making the NBA, people, I don't think people realize how freaking hard that is.
Yeah.
I actually learnt looking at some statistics around like the average career length people have in the NBA and even solid players like top 10 draft picks where they are now and like the level they were playing in the NBA, it is like, there's such a small, minuscule percent that stay in the NBA and play a long career, bro.
A lot of it's luck,
such a hard league, man.
Unless you're one of those absolute superstars, a lot of it is luck because you got to find yourself in the right situation.
Yeah.
And otherwise, you just get traded. And even trying to get into it, you're right. It's some of those you kind of need that luck of that opportunity on the right team too. We're seeing it more now with some youngsters like, oh, great, I've got a summer league tryout or I've got a two-way opportunity. But if you're not on a team that you're not going to get a chance, then who's ever going to see you?
Well, that's why I always think about Mitch Creek. He had 2 10 days, and like one of them he played. Like, how can you showcase your skills in a 10-day contract?
And if he's on a different 10-day where he's playing every single game, he's probably still there.
Yeah,
like you've got to get lucky with the opportunity.
Well, like your minutes in that 10 days is going to be limited as well. Probably
It's probably easier, I would say, but because the NBA look outside of America as well to see there's some legit talent than there was back in the day, and where. But like guys like Chris Golding, man, like that dude should have been in the NBA. Every time we played,
why didn't he get? I call him the White Mamba because I think Kyrie called him that or something.
Just to get the chance, man. Everything's got to line up right with what team is looking for someone at the time, and but like even going further back, like guys like Sam McKinnon, the OGs, these absolute guys who were bucket getters, missed their chance because I guess you weren't really looking outside of the United States at the time. But we played for United. We played NBA preseason games. We were part of the first ones. We played OKC. CG and I didn't play. I did my foot. He had appendicitis. We went back the second year. We played Philly. He had 19 at halftime against Philly. And this is like prime Ben Simmons, like trying to lock him up. And he was just getting buckets. And then Embiid sat on him at halftime and nearly broke his ankle. And he couldn't play the rest of the half. And then they played the Clippers after I retired, and he gave buckets where Doc Rivers in the press conference is like, I had to ask the team, like, do you guys know who this dude is? Like, he's legit. And he torches in other boomer stuff.
No one's
just got to get the right opportunity. He could have made his way easily.
Yeah, because is he towards the back end of his career?
35 now, yeah.
Yeah,
so it's harder now.
Bro, especially because even Kyrie was giving him, remember when Kyrie came out and Kyrie was giving him like big plugs?
Yeah, but even like, it took Ingles a while to, Ingles bounced around for ages and got it as an older thing. But yeah, I was never going to be on an NBA radar. There were some chances to me to do some workouts potentially after that year, but I decided to go back for my 5th year because I redshirted, get a master's degree because that was kind of promised to mum. Went back and we should have won it. We should have won 4. We were the biggest Vegas upset of like the whole year in the conference quarterfinal. So we were playing Hartford, and we were favoured to win by like 20, and we lost, and we were done. So that's what I mean. We finished first. We were the ones to beat.
And then just bang, won that game. It's over. Sport, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to win sometimes.
So then, that was it.
So the journey then, you've gone to you played overseas before you came to the NBL.
Yeah, I went to, so I signed with an agent. In my mind, I'm like, the NBL is always going to be there, right? So I was like, I want to maybe experience something overseas at the time. And the NBL, this is before Larry bought it and took it over. It was in a bit of a downslope too. Like it was around 2015, 2016. It was a bit dead. It looked tough. But then something popped up with the Townsville Crocs, and I was like, this sounds cool. I was like, I know the Crocs. I know some players who have been there. So I told my agent, I was like, let's do it. I went to bed in New York, woke up, and he was like, yeah, about that. There's no Townsville anymore. Yeah. And everyone had already found a new team. I was like, oh, well, I can get a British passport. My old man's born in England. Went and did that all quickly and signed in Plymouth for the British Basketball League, not knowing what to expect.
What was the reality of the Basketball League though?
I think it's changed a lot now. There were 16 teams, I believe, at the time. And a lot of people asked, like, what's the competition like? The top 4 or 5 teams are easily winning like the NBL 1, like easily. Right. And they would have probably held their own in the NBL. Right. Don't think they would have won it, but they would have held their own. The middle ones, not so much. And then like the bottom 4 or 5 in my year aren't even winning the NBL 1. Like they were, it was a massive drop off. There was just such a disparity. Okay. And I got there, I was living in Plymouth. Again, I'd never been to England before.
So you've already lived overseas for like 4 or 5 years at this point as well?
5 years, yeah.
And then you've gone to the UK?
Gone to the UK, down in Plymouth, learning all about...
Which just the sound of that town just sounds like it's a shithole.
No, it's actually... We might need some pictures of it. No, yeah, it's actually...
The soccer team there's called Plymouth Argyle.
Yeah, so I know you'll love this. So obviously my first thing is to Google it, right? I was like, where the hell is Plymouth? My old man was playing for Nottingham Forest. Like I'm talking about, I know where London is. I know where Nottingham is. That's what it looks like.
Holy
and I was like,
shit, that's beautiful. That looks like it's in Spain.
And I was like, this is the most stunning place I've ever seen.
That looks like it's in Spain, bro. So Plymouth. I'm sure wow, that is some like English countryside.
There'll be a giant picture of a pool, I reckon, on the front. There'll be something that looks like a pool that's on the water. There it is. And that's what I was like, this is epic. I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to love my time here.
Wow, there's actually like is that actually a pool?
It's a pool. I went in it. The local Plymouth people tell me it's one of the dirtiest places. I don't know if it's changed now.
Okay.
I don't know if it's like the Bondi pools.
That is something else, man.
Yeah. And so anyway, but I went there and I was staying on a golf course. It was the major sponsor. So I was in an apartment on the golf course and I was like, this is epic. And I was just like, I had a great time in the actual like town itself. It was awesome. There was a gin distillery there. I'm not a gin fan, but I like ambience.
Yeah, ambience.
And that's what it was.
Ambience.
And I was like, this is lovely. Yeah. Tore my calf. Every time I've had something new in my career, every opportunity, there's been injuries at the start, right? Oh. It's the same thing every time. Got hurt in college, tore my calf in England, broke my foot in Melbourne. So every single time. And anyway, I came back and tore it again, but ended up playing. Just like they do in soccer, there's cups, there's like BBL cups and stuff.
Well, league cups and all that type of stuff.
So when some of the guys sat down, I got to play a whole lot more. And I'm just getting shots up, bro.
Oh, bro.
Going in there, get buckets, loving it. You're playing the D2 teams, loving it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I didn't get treated very well. And it was my first experience. The money was, how much do you reckon I was making a month?
A pound?
A pound?
No, pound.
Yeah, in British pound.
Say £25,000, I'm going to guess.
A month, straight out of college.
A month. Yeah, a month. I'm going to say like £2,000.
1,000. That was my first contract in England. £1,000 a month.
That's you can't live on that.
I was literally heating up frozen pizzas and
that's how it is.
And again, but it was like tax free too. I hadn't worked. I've been in college, or whatever. So I'm like, I'm still getting paid to play. But I started getting treated pretty poorly in terms of like getting my opportunity and everything. And one of my
like the man management aspect.
Yeah, that some coaching stuff. And it took a really bad toll on me mentally. Like I was in a spiraling out of control. And one of my teammates, who's Aussie, was like, mate, if you want to like save your career, you got to leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, but you were telling me at the start, if I leave, I'll never get another gig because it looks bad. He goes, dude, you got to get out of here. So I was like, shit, my now wife moved from America out to live with me. And this is just one story.
Is your wife American?
She's from Brooklyn.
Wow.
So one of my
That's cool as fuck.
I got so many like anecdotes about my England experience in a blog that I've never released. I've never had to, and it's just not worth dragging people down now. It's so far gone.
Can we do it on here?
But so I got asked. So my missus was coming out. Everyone knew it. All my teammates knew it. And there was a house with 4 blokes in it with 1 bathroom, and I was staying differently because I got put there first because they knew she was coming out in this apartment on the golf course, and then all the rest were locals. They lived at home. And I got told, like, hey, we just signed a new player. He's coming up down from Newcastle. His wife's coming every 3rd weekend. He doesn't want to stay in the hotel or whatever, so you're going to move in with the boys and he's going to live there. And I was like, but I've got my partner here. She goes, she'll be fine. I was like, she's not living in a house with 5 guys.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, no, I staunched up, and then they weren't happy about that, and they were just like, oh, Pete's been soft or whatever. And all my teammates like, why would he move?
Oh, fuck Plymouth Argyle.
Yeah, and I was like, no, what's going on there? So that was just one thing, and then I ended up, I went in and told the GM, I said, look, can I get a release? Like I'm in a really bad place here. Explained everything. They were good. They were like, yeah, sure. Like we didn't know that was happening. I'm sorry.
They didn't know their business.
And then I get told, I get another phone call on my way home saying, have the car back and checked out of your apartment in 2 hours. Oh. I was like, mate, I've got to organise flights and everything. I'm off.
See, wouldn't you love, with some of these situations, because I've been through not the same, but similar things where they've tested you mentally.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you love to have the head you have on your shoulders now, back then?
No, yeah.
Because not even to maneuver it I just would have been like more smart with how I did things and more effective, because
it's easy to say that now, right? But
absolutely. Had
that not happened then, I wouldn't have like the understanding of being as grateful for what the other things that come.
That's true,
because you've got to experience that shit.
Glass half full, Pistol. You've
got to experience that shit to get the other side of it.
Yeah, 100%.
So anyway, me and my partner slept in my teammate's toddler's bed for that night. Then we caught a train to London, flew home, signed with Ballarat, and I told my agent, I said, look, I don't want to play anywhere else. I want to play in Australia, or else I'm retired. I'm quitting. Like, I'm done. I'll just work for a radio station or do whatever that is.
Bro.
And then was out one night because we were playing in the Ballarat season, playing really well. We had a weekend off. We went to St Kilda with some of the boys, and we were just having a piss-up weekend, and I get a phone call from my agent saying, Melbourne United, guy just tore his Achilles. He's out for the year. They're looking at you potentially, but you've got to be at the workout at 8 a.m. in the morning.
And you're on the piss.
Mate, I'm that many CCs deep on a Sunday afternoon. I was like, shit. I was like, this is my opportunity here. Started sober up, went home, had a decent workout, just got beat up for an hour really. We played one-on-one. Coach said, Dino was like, look, we are interested, but like we're not going to pull the trigger yet. The following week I was supposed to go to China with Sydney Kings, who had 2 spots left too. He said, go on that trip and we'll talk in a bit. So I went on that trip to China with Sydney Kings. That was an experience in itself. All the other stories.
Did any big players for this Kings back then?
No, so that trip for China, they had 2 spots left. They wanted to take 10 players and sign 2. Right. So just 10 of the good locals around they had left and see who could earn their spot essentially.
Right. Okay.
Playing in this tournament in China. So anyway, I get to the airport. Gazy was the coach.
That's cool.
And there were 7 people. I was like, where is everyone? He said, 3 visas didn't come through. We've got 7 players. And he's like, telling everyone, this is great. Less opportunity competition. Yeah, we only need 2 spots. I was like, all right, sweet. Get over there. Someone did his MCO on the first practice, gets sent home. We got 6 players. Dane Pinot, who was the only rostered player on the trip, does his ankle in the first game. We're down 20 at halftime to Team USA. It was just a bunch of Summer League guys.
Oh, God.
Gazy walks in at halftime. There's just 5 players and our strength coach is suiting up to give us numbers. And he said, fellas, this is just a great opportunity for someone to get signed. Like, we didn't expect to win a game here. What a coach.
And I love that.
I was like, all right, so whatever. We came back and win that.
You won it.
We went undefeated the rest of the tournament. I got MVP of the tournament. We're sitting down having some beers in this China hotel when all of a sudden this guy walks over with a briefcase, puts it on Gazy's table and other people, just all this cash. Like, congratulations.
What?
I'm like,
just donated.
No, for winning the tournament.
That was one cash.
Prize. And they were like, we don't know what to do. We didn't expect to win any games here.
Oh my God, that's a fucking story in itself.
And we're all like, we didn't get, I don't want to say how much we got because it still annoys me to this day.
Okay, right. So you didn't get your fair share.
No, we got well less. Who
took most of the cake?
No, I think it was
the Kings.
For like contracts and stuff. They were going to use it.
Yeah, that's a strange one because you kind of don't have contracted players, but profiting off them.
Exactly. And again, like I'm sitting there like I'm annoyed, but
players unions.
If I'm if I'm on the other side of it, would I be doing the same thing?
I'd be pocketing.
Yeah, there's probably ways.
Yeah, it's a privilege you're here. Wearing a Sydney Kings too. I could do a speech, but it's not legally. It's not right. It's not morally right. Or maybe it is. It's probably legal. So
they've just one of the most successful organisations we've seen, so they're doing something right. I remember sitting there with the heaviest MVP trophy of all time in the China airport. My agent texted me, he said, "How'd you go?" And I just sent him a photo, and he goes, "Give me 1 sec." Comes back and goes, "Melbourne United's offered you for next season. I won't tell the Kings that they've offered you until you get home." I was like, sweet. I'm sitting next to Andrew Gaze. I see my agent's name pop up as a phone call. And I was like, this guy's telling him right now. Gaze, he finishes, he goes, "So Melbourne want you." I was, what's going on here? You've already told him. I had to pick Melbourne or Sydney. My missus loved
that would have been why? Okay, so it was family choice.
Yeah, well, she just. I didn't want to move too much. I thought I'd get more of an opportunity in Melbourne.
So then you made you won a championship,
and then we went and won a championship. So,
wow,
yeah.
Would you say that's a highlight of your career? That experience with Melbourne, because it was a relatively new franchise, I assume. When you got there.
Yeah, I mean, man, just winning. I mean, I had obviously the 3 conference titles in college. I always wanted to measure my career and my enjoyment off winning titles, right, over individual stuff for sure. Mm-hmm. Because the memories you make afterwards and like the team, like I remember every championship teammate I've ever had. Yeah. And I always remember that.
Yeah.
And when I look back on, especially now when we measure greatness in terms of other professional sporting leagues, it's always like, how many rings have they got?
Yeah,
how many titles they won?
Yeah, you've got a title. You've got a title. And
that's all I need.
What did they give you? Did they give you a ring?
I got a ring and a watch.
A watch?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I don't know what they give now. You still get a ring, but yeah, it holds a special place.
Bro, the only thing I have against that team is the name. I feel like it doesn't. It's not.
You're a soccer guy.
Well, basketball. I mean, like Adelaide 36ers. I know what that's about.
So at the time,
Melbourne United. I don't know what sport that team plays.
Well, at the time, it was because the Melbourne basketball scene had become really split, and everyone was doing their own thing. It was kind of trying to bring everybody back together with. You remember before all of this, there was the Melbourne Tigers, there was the Southeast Melbourne Magic, there were all these other teams that were playing the NBL, and now everyone's kind of fractured out. So how do we bring everybody back?
Oh, okay, so it was like a marketing strategy.
And I mean, geez, they've become, again, since they've been in the league, they've been one of the most successful teams.
They're their go-to team, aren't they? Yeah.
But now Southeast Melbourne's in and stuff like that. But I forgot to say, Plymouth Argyle, the soccer team.
Yeah,
because obviously I'm a massive soccer head as well.
Yeah, you could hold your own with football chat.
I'm a Liverpool man.
Yep.
And they played Plymouth in the FA Cup when I was there at Anfield. And they drew. Which
so
means what?
Come back.
So they have to come back.
The replay.
So the replay was in a month or whatever it was. Dude, when I tell you this.
What's their stadium size?
Tiny, man. This thing.
Like tin sheds and shit.
I'm like, this is straight out of Green Street Hooligans. And I seriously, the whole town shut down for the week. Like they're selling flags that are half Plymouth, half Liverpool. I was like, this shit doesn't even make sense. Dude, I was like, how you do this?
That's the beauty of having those cups. Because like all of a sudden these small towns get
They didn't send everybody. Coutinho played. I think Origi hit the penalty. They only won 1-0.
Damn.
And you know how the old saying of like, can you do it on a cold, wet night in Stoke?
Oh,
Mate,
man.
that's a cold, wet night in Plymouth. That thing was freezing. We were sitting right next to the corner flag. And just watching my team right there, it was epic, man.
Bro, when I was in the VIS, the Joeys, so the age group above me, they were the under-17 Australian team. There was like 8 players from my VIS team. I was a year below, so I wasn't like, I was eligible, but there's no chance of making it. Yeah. I'm still a kid. But there's 8 guys in that team from the VIS, and they went to a tournament in America, and they played Brazil, and they played Neymar. And everyone came back and was just talking about this guy called Coutinho. Everyone was like, because Neymar was like well known across the world.
Coutinho was my favorite player back then, man.
Everyone came back saying, some guy called Coutinho, man, his feet were like dancing, all this shit. They were like, he was the one that they couldn't believe.
I had a jersey.
Yeah, he was special, bro. Yeah. At Liverpool, he was unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could get caught up in football chat.
I know.
But we actually did one of the reasons why I brought you here, which was actually to go through the NBA season. Because I love the NBA. I think it's one of the best sports to watch, also one of the best sports to bet on. My only bone to pick with it is that if you're not 6 foot plus, I mean, good luck playing it at the highest level.
Yeah.
Well, at least for me, I can't play it. But I love watching it because it actually reminds...
5'8" on a good day.
See that? I would cop that. Imagine me in a basketball locker room. I would cop that on steroids.
Yeah.
Yet in a soccer team...
What are you, 5'10"?
I'm 5'10", probably, yeah, which is...
When if you say probably, that's only in the morning.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely 5'10", but I like anytime... If I'm chatting to a girl, I'm 6 foot. Yeah. Yeah, They never question it in shoes.
So your hinge profile.
I'm 178. I'm 178 centimeters.
You have not verified your hinge profile.
Nah, it would never get hit. It would never get verified. I'm not on Hinge anyway, so
Not yet.
not yet. Yeah, I might need to.
Yeah.
But let's go through this NBA season because what I don't fully understand plays enough. But the player movement and the X's and O's and the way the ball moves is very similar to soccer to me. So it's very much a chess game of how players are freeing up space, even though it's in a different dynamic. So I love watching it. But I want to break down this season in the NBA Finals because I know you are watching it quite profusely as much as I was. But just to go into the NBA season, I mean, overall, pretty interesting season. Like some teams didn't deliver, some teams did. Who were some of your biggest, I guess, disappointments and surprises from a team performance?
Surprise is easy, OKC. Well, you say it's a surprise for OKC. I wasn't surprised. I actually did something.
But to go on, a 50-game winning season? That didn't surprise you?
It surprised me they finished first in the West with how strong the West is.
Correct, yeah.
But it didn't surprise me how good they were because I actually predicted them to make the Western Conference Finals way back at the start because I was just like,
damn,
they're
what
ready.
Did you see? Like,
I thought SGA is a superstar.
Jalen Williams as well?
Jalen Williams, he's a gun, and then obviously Chet. But you saw a young, like, again, because I've been part of winning cultures and I've also been part of crap cultures. If I see what's a good culture, I just see success, man. Like that you cannot win titles, you cannot have success if you've got a bad culture.
Yeah.
And they clearly have a good culture. They have a lot of fun. They're young. They're hungry. And you just see a lot of that from the outside in. And again, they worked out on the floor and they were so fun to watch.
Yeah, they're so fun to watch. We actually should speak, I want to speak about SGA season, but we probably should go into what happened recent is Josh Giddey going to the Bulls for Caruso, which I think that's a great trade.
Perfect trade.
Great trade for probably everyone involved. But looking at it from Giddey's lens, like what does that change for him now going to the Bulls? How's his role going to fit them?
Well, he's a different team now. So OKC's in win now mode and they've got two of the most ball dominant guards on their team in SGA, who's going to have the ball in his hands every time if he can possibly have it, right? And Jalen Williams is the other. Also because of the way the new CBA comes in, but this is all the boring stuff, is like they couldn't have given Giddey a max deal anyway. So there's so many other things that have come. They've got so many draft picks they can be penalised for if they don't get rid of some as well at the time. So he was always going to be on the move no matter what, just because of you're keeping Chet, you're keeping SGA, you're keeping Jalen Williams.
And his minutes with flames.
Who's the next one out of that? Giddey. Bringing Caruso doesn't need the ball in his hands. It makes sense. Also, what it is for the Bulls is they're going in a different direction. They're not in win now mode just yet. They might be. I think they're going to, as we recall this, I think they're going to make some more trades with DeMar and Zach LaVine.
Do you reckon they'll ship off any of those?
They're probably going to see, firstly, who they can get in. If they can get one more piece in, they're probably thinking we've got Giddey, Kobe White, DeMar, Zach LaVine, Vucevic. We've got enough pieces here. They needed a pass first guard.
That can be in the playoffs.
Or they're going to just be like, you know what, let's get rid of LaVine. Let's get rid of DeMar and let's just rebuild.
Yeah.
And because Kobe White's a gun, most improved player candidate last year, alongside Giddey, Giddey's going to actually be able to play his game, man. What we see in the Boomers, and I think he's going to flourish.
I just love. I think I like seeing the ball in his hands more.
And again, he's not.
He gets so many assists. Like his playmaking, he's like a midfielder in soccer.
He's not a guy who we saw on OKC. Okay, the ball's in SJ's hands. Giddey in the corner. Why are you putting a playmaker in the corner?
Yeah,
and we know he's still continuing to work on his shot, but him having the ball in his hands, I think, is going to help him. His game grow. He's only 21.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think it's a great trade. For both parties, a fresh change of scenery, and we'll see what. It's a brutal business, though. But
it is, man. Like, literally, people speak about the trade, like, Pat Bev. Like, I love listening to his pod when he talks about, like, when he calls his, like, partner, he's like, he tells her, like, what's happening. And she's like...
Here we go again.
Yeah, like, here we go again. Like,
and a lot of people... So when Drew Holiday got traded from the Bucks to Boston, and his wife, who's a gun soccer player...
Yeah, she won the World Cup.
Won the World Cup. Yeah. Might have been won 2 Olympic golds.
Yeah, correct.
And she put out a tweet saying, like, nothing can ever prepare you for, like, the change and moving the kids out of school and trying to find someone else. The kids have friendships. All the comments online being like, I reckon Drew's 180 million is going to help out. None of that shit matters when you talk about family.
Yeah, but like the kids don't know the money factor. They just know the changing schools and then the mum feels
this isn't my best friend. This isn't my teacher that I get along with.
It is. It's hard, man. It's also your social life. Like it completes your shifts.
Most players don't have a say in those, right? The really top ones, obviously you have like no trade clauses and I want to go to certain places. The rest, the role players, hey man, you're on the move.
Yeah. It's only the best players choose. Everyone else gets chosen.
Brutal, man. And you can be in multiple teams in the span of a week.
Yeah, and multiple cities. America's a big place too.
Yeah.
Just to go into OKC, SGA, average 30 point. How many 30-point games he had this year? 50. He broke the record for OKC, which is crazy because they had Kevin Durant for so long. And Russ, who was a triple-double king. But we spoke about this a few weeks ago, but I want to do it on here in regards to the MVP award. Were you pro Jokic winning the MVP? Did you think SGA deserved it? What's your thoughts?
I probably would have voted Jokic first, just.
So Jokic is like a unique...
It's hard for me to take away that I thought he got robbed last year. So I thought that he became a victim of his own greatness last year, and they said, we'll give it to Embiid because, like, Jokic already won too. Like, he's not, has he got better? Maybe. That's what everyone's thinking.
Game looks easy for him, doesn't it?
But also, when you're at the top and you're the best player in the world, and everyone's like, oh, he hasn't really got better this year, Embiid's got a whole lot better, or SGA's got better. Like, what more can Jokic do?
Yeah.
He's doing what he does still on the highest level. He's not going to average 40, 20, and 20. That's just impossible. I probably would have voted for Jokic, but SGA, if he had won it, it'd have been well deserved.
Who stopped Denver? Was that Minnesota?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy that Minnesota stopped Denver with the team that they had and the experience, yet somehow the Mavs just turned up in a series.
No,
absolutely. Can you explain the dynamic to me there? Because
the more I looked at it now, the Western Conference, the way it played out, and it's not the only thing to talk about in the NBA, right, is the West, because the East was a piece of piss for Boston.
Yeah, well, my question with that was going to be: is a healthier East going to be more competitive with Embiid and Giannis back?
Hopefully, that was so boring.
Yeah,
but the West, it was just certain matchups for each team wanted. Minnesota matched up really well with Denver at the time, with the way that Ant was playing. Michael Porter Jr. didn't really fire at the time. But also, Dallas, OKC lived with Dallas. Okay, we're going to put all our emphasis on shutting down Luka and Kyrie. And if PJ Washington hits enough threes to beat us, then so be it.
Yeah.
And he did.
Wow.
Looked unbelievable. Same thing happened when Dallas played Minnesota. Minnesota's like, if PJ Washington or Derek Lively's going to beat us, so be it. And they did. Luka still was unbelievable. Kyrie was unbelievable. But the role players.
Yeah, bro.
And then when Boston were like, okay, can these role players do it 3 series in a row? We don't bank on it. And they couldn't.
Yeah.
PJ Washington didn't show up in the finals.
Yeah.
Derek Lively was still pretty good, but you still need multiple guys when Kyrie's getting hounded. And Boston were just licking their lips.
So do you think Dallas was the best team in the West?
No.
Who was the best team in the West in your eyes?
I still think it was Denver.
Denver, yeah. That's what I was trying to get to. I was like,
they laid an egg.
But I thought Minnesota was probably a better team than Dallas.
Yeah, I think it was, again, the matchup side of it. I looked at Minnesota as well, but the way they beat Denver, Michael Porter Jr. struggled in that series when he needs to be able to hit some shots.
Yeah.
And Jamal Murray had half a calf.
Aaron Gordon kind of flourished as well. He was he kept them in it.
You need multiple other role players, right? And if Murray's on half a calf and only showing up every other game and MPJ's not there, Jokic can be as good as he wants and Aaron Gordon can flourish, but they're limited then.
Yeah.
They're not going to go into the bench too deep, whereas Minnesota, Ant's a beast. He was going to do his thing. Cat showed up and then McDaniel, all these guys were just chipping in. You need to have role players chip in, and that's what Boston did with Drew Holiday, Derek White. They just chip in, and that's all you got to do.
Joel Embiid's tweet, he said, Bucks just give them the championship.
100%. Yeah. I said this way back.
Drew Holiday's unbelievable.
He's one of my favourite.
Fundamentals king.
So JJ Redick calls, you're probably the same as Sog, but he calls basketball sickos, minds who see the game differently. That's me. I love looking at these different aspects of the game, and I've always loved Drew Holiday. And I love it because when he's the second pick of Team USA at the Olympics, the fans this is ridiculous. Jalen Brunson's way better. He might be, but not when it comes to what that team needs.
Yeah.
You need a player who just does certain things, and that's Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Because wherever Drew goes, teams win.
Yeah, I know. And now he's going to go win a gold medal probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, special. What the one player I wanted to speak about a little bit more was Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with that guy.
He's him.
Just the basketball, the footwork is what's scary to me. It's almost a cheat code in the sport, what he's done. Because he's maneuvering without traveling in a manner that people don't know how to stop.
He's going to be I see him as the face of the league in the next decade.
Is he not already? Oh, I guess not. You've still got Steph and LeBron.
No, I would say you've got Jokic, you've got Jason Tatum, Luka now obviously popping up, but him losing this year is going to help him so much for the sake of he understood what it takes to do a deep playoff run. Like he was tired as shit.
Yeah,
in that
that
series.
last series. His legs went.
When you're the number one guy by a long way on a team, you can't also try and be the number one guy on the defensive end. And he tried to do that. He was trying to set a tone in the other series, and he was exhausted by the time he got to Dallas.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And everyone's like, oh, Jaylen Brown did in the finals. But Jaylen Brown, he might have been the number one guy for Boston, but the way that Boston have set up, they've got 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D,
Yeah, they can
then
flip.
2.
They can flip.
Derek White can put the ball in the basket. Porzingis puts the ball in the basket. JT. So they're not really set apart like the hierarchy. He can't do it all like he tried. And I think that cost him with how tired he was.
Do they need anything else in that team, or are they ready to go? Because they got like 6 man of the year. They got obviously defensive player of the year or 6 man of the year candidate. Was Nasri 6 man of the year?
Yeah, he won 6 man of the year.
Yes, and then they got defensive player of the year. Like, do they shift Cat?
I would.
Who for?
I don't know who for, but that way you can start Nas Reed and maybe bring in an impactful point guard. Wow. I love Mike Conley. Keep him on the team too. Obviously, he needs to win a ring.
Yeah, they seem to have a good energy about it too.
Deserves to win a ring. But see who you can go and get to really take some pressure off.
Damn.
Because Nas Reed can start.
Bro, he's a baller. He was electric in the Denver series.
But who can they get is the question. And again, but maybe it's shifting Cat to like somewhere and try and get Paul George or something like that.
Wow. Is Paul George up for? Is Paul George?
Paul George's gone. They're thinking.
Yeah, like Philly's like Philly, like Joel Embiid's like looking at him like
Orlando.
Yeah, Orlando as well.
Yeah,
he's gonna get a max deal somewhere,
or even try and go and get Clay. Like, so get someone.
Oh, I like that.
But you're not straight swapping Clay and Cat right now, so it has to come with somebody else.
Interesting. So from just for last piece on the Western Conference before we get into the actual finals itself, but LeBron, the Lakers, that's just an interesting situation. Has that been ironed out yet?
JJ Redick, head coach, announced today, apparently.
No fucking way.
Yeah. Apparently.
He's going to be the head coach.
4-year deal.
The guy that LeBron James has a podcast with.
Why do you think he has a podcast with him? You don't think that was an audition?
What?
You don't think that was an audition?
But that's like...
They were this wasn't one of your, like our podcasts right now we're talking on. This was a podcast where they literally talked about basketball. Not an audition per se, but to like, hey, are we on the same wavelength about how we see the game? Because whilst LeBron's on the floor, who's the coach of a team while LeBron's on a roster?
Yeah, but that's fine. I get JJ Redick's got one of the best basketball brains, probably going to be a great X's and O's coach. But managing egos...
See, that's my thing though. Who's the actual coach while LeBron's still playing?
That's why I was like, is that a choice? Because he's LeBron's calling a play if he wants to call a play.
That's my answer to my question. LeBron is the player coach until he retires.
Yeah, so that's what that must be like a well-known thing then. Is that actually official?
Yeah.
Holy shit, because they've been talking about that.
So it goes one of two ways.
And I was like, there's no way he's just started a podcast and now the guy's his coach.
It goes one of two ways, right? It goes one of two ways where either it helps JJ Redick ease into a head coaching role because he doesn't have so much pressure. LeBron's doing a lot of the things. Or as you said, that a lot of people are predicting that it's going to be hard to try and navigate that. Oh
my God, it is. JJ Redick, 4-year deal to coach the team. Sources, wow, that is crazy.
I love JJ Redick, so I really hope it works.
I'm a massive JJ Redick guy. I think what he's doing for NBA content is amazing as well.
I love the podcast, the Old Man in 3. But what does the big deals they throw out for coaches? Monty Williams signed a 6 or 7 year deal with the Pistons. 6 years, I think, last year, 100-something million, and they fired him after 1 year.
Yeah, that's stupid. You don't need to hire coaches for that long.
It's a long time.
It's a long season too. Like one season is a long year.
I think there's been no longer tenured coach since like Phil Jackson, longer than 3 years of the league.
Wow, yeah, it's a volatile league. Wow, that's crazy. So who calls the plays? LeBron in the team huddles. JJ Redick's calling plays, but if LeBron wants a shift, that's LeBron's call.
No, I think when it comes to that side of things, I think LeBron will trust JJ because of the way his mind sees the game.
Yeah.
But I also think that like they can work through together because of the chemistry they have and what they know about the game to find success.
Well, maybe the bigger question now with the Lakers is what are you putting on the trade table if you're a GM there?
D'Angelo Russell was obviously one, but
you're not trading AD?
No, you get
Yeah, you can't. You're pro AD.
I'm not normally.
Yeah,
so I normally,
that's why I brought it up because I'm pretty sure you've shot him a few times.
Many.
A few unnecessary drive-bys and some chats.
Absolutely not unnecessary. These are 100% necessary. But he was very good last year. So you have to run it back with him and trust he's going to stay healthy again, but just put some other pieces around. I don't know how that looks. But again, we all say this, and I'm sitting there being like, if LeBron wants another ring, why doesn't he just play these last 2 years for $1? He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
Like, what's another 30 mil to a billionaire? I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, he can come down now.
If he played for $1 and you can go and then spend that 30 million on other elite players, you just go and get a couple more rings. That's not ring chasing. That's just good business.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what the Warriors did to an extent. With
they just overpaid. They just said, look, we're going to be well in the cap, in the luxury cap. We'll pay all that luxury tax. Who cares? But if we win, whatever. Right. And they did. So they were so over the cap, it doesn't matter. That's blown my mind a little bit. Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, we have to touch on the NBA Finals because that was did you have any thought Dallas might do more?
No.
Did you see the series go? Why were people bullish on Dallas coming in?
I don't know. I was shocked to sit there and see all the media and ESPN people being like, Dallas.
The first half of the first game, I knew the series was done.
Oh, I knew it was done before
21
that.
up. I was
Even
like,
Porzingis, again, I talked about matchups. I'm weighing up matchups throughout this entire thing. Yeah, I can see how Minnesota beat Denver. Yes, I can see how OKC lost. Yes, I can see how Minnesota lost to Dallas. I just couldn't see the way that Dallas...
It's impossible.
But unless PJ Washington did what he did in the previous 2 series, average 4, made 3s a game.
Yeah.
There just wasn't enough there. And Boston, everyone's going to talk about Tatum and Brown. Derek White and Drew Holiday are one of the best
unsung
role-playing
heroes.
backcourts we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Seen.
Derek White seems like he's like the... It's an interesting story. I actually wanted to speak today about Joe Mazzulla because the coach... 35 years old. He was in college when Kyrie was still at Duke.
Yeah.
And now he's the head coach of the Boston Celtic against Kyrie in the NBA Finals winning.
And everyone wanted him fired last year, so they couldn't handle these kind of...
He was also on the board for the Boston Celtics like a few years before, but he made a commitment to a player that was coming to his college that he would be the coach. So he turned down to be an assistant with the Celtics to honour his commitment to the kid that he gave a scholarship to his school.
This is why
it says a lot about the man.
This is why it also shows how good, like, smart Boston are in the office. And then we talked a bit about the Kings. They're the same, man.
Right.
But again, the good teams always seem to rub some like that team's fans the wrong way. Because that's what winning does, man. That's what
they've been in like 30% of the NBA Finals.
And again, everyone said tear up Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum years ago. They can't coexist. They said we'll stick by it. We'll bring in other pieces like Drew and Kristaps Porzingis, and we'll back you. Everyone said get rid of Joe Mazzulla, he can't do it. They said, no, we back you to do it. And now they're champions. And to be honest, like, why can't they run it back next year?
Yeah. Can we talk about Jaylen Brown's defense?
That's what I'm saying, though.
He was, I mean, do you think he won the finals MVP? Obviously, offensively, he was great, but did he solidify the finals MVP for his lockdown?
Yeah, I think being on both ends of the floor, for sure. Yeah. But again, why does he feel comfortable doing that? Because they have Drew Holiday, they have Derek White, they have other guys
that can go and get buckets,
if needed, and give a break on either end. Yeah. Whereas, like, back to the point with Ant Edwards, they didn't. So they're such good two-way players. At the time, Jaden McDaniels from Minnesota, yes, he can play D and lock up. Is he going to go and get you 30 every night? Or can he go and get buckets all the time, up and down?
Interesting.
Derek White's going to get buckets when he wants. Drew Holiday can get it. Kristaps Porzingis can get it. And Jaylen Brown's like, man, I'm trying to set a tone here. If I need to chill, I'll chill on the offensive end in the corner and let JT go to work.
Yeah. Did Kyrie just get locked up well, or is his level slightly shifting? Because I felt like he showed
he was
glimpses in the Minnesota like the Minnesota series. I was like, this is the Kyrie we know. So that's why probably people were a bit fooled that Dallas might, because Kyrie's just unpredictable with like the level that he can get to sometimes.
Boston just out-schemed him. So and they said that.
Are Dallas going to slide off a cliff here, or are they?
No, they know they're right there.
So what do they have to do? If you're the GM at Dallas, like what are you beefing up in that?
You want one more piece.
One more piece. Where
on the wing. You need a 3-man.
A 3-man, right.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's cool.
Whatever that, and again, but everyone keeps throwing around Paul George's name and stuff. Someone like that to come in and put that impact 3 guy there. Then you got PJ, Derek Lively. They're good.
Wow.
They're right there. They don't need to blow it up whatsoever.
Boston on the brink of
Dynasty?
They really are.
If they keep this all together, which I think they will.
Holy crap.
Why can't they?
I still can't believe there's a few things around this coach that I can't believe. I mean, his press conferences make me laugh because he's like
he's wild,
stone cold,
I know.
like with his responses, like always brings in his like
I love that,
religion, like to questions.
Be yourself, man.
Yeah, he's very authentic, but then also he's just got a random relationship with Pep Guardiola and literally compliment. I still don't understand how this compliment makes sense, but Pep Guardiola helped him with identifying how they could stop Dallas on the transition because he thought Dallas's transition was one of the best in the league.
There you go.
And I'm like...
That's what the best coaches, right?
That's thinking outside the box.
But they also continue to talk about like what else can they do to get better because everyone has the same access to every resource as a player, as a coach. But not every coach in the NBA has a resource of one of the greatest football managers of all time. So that's unique. So what is an edge that every coach in something can get? That's where you find greatness. And I talk about my Melbourne United coach, Dean Vickerman. Arthur won the first year. Craig Bellamy was with us in the preseason.
No way.
Melbourne Storm, talking about how hard it is to go back-to-back and stuff they do. So I'm like, well, if you guys are bouncing off each other and look at the success you two have.
Wow.
And like it's those kind of things that you don't think about.
It was a cool thing to see, but I was really trying to understand like because soccer is about spaces and pictures, and that's the same thing with basketball, I guess.
But when I think about that, when I think about coaches, all these top sports, yes, it's obviously about like schemes and everything. But what if the recruitment's right? It's just about managing talent, really, isn't it?
Yeah, well, correct. This is what they always speak about with why Carlo Ancelotti, and I always reference soccer because that's what I know. Yeah. But Carlo Ancelotti at Real Madrid, why he's so successful is because he knows how to manage big players. And they said to him, it's like, how do you coach these guys that are so good? He goes, you don't. You just make sure they're happy. You can't throw a group of guys together who are the best of what they do and just think it's going to work. Just like make sure like it's 70% of it is mental. Like he used to think I used to have to build a system and if players didn't fit my system, they were gone. It's like, no, you build the system around the players you have and the best players especially. Yeah. And he's the most successful coach in history. Greg
Popovich decided to say, look, I'm going down this international route. Tony Parker, Boris Diaw at the time, Manu Ginobili, Patty Mills.
Yeah.
And they built something from that.
Yeah.
There's the greatest coaches we see are just they think differently, man.
Yeah. Probably the last one for me is I just would like to know your always a hard question, but your Mount Rushmore
of basketballers.
And it doesn't have to be a stat sheet. It doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to be GOATs. It's just your Pistols, your favorite four.
That's different. That's kind of way different in Mount Rushmore.
Okay, well then give me Mount Rushmore and then
greatest
give me your...
time.
Yeah, greatest. Give me your GOATs.
Obviously LeBron and MJ are up there.
Do you have a preference? Are you like JD Redick?
I'm Michael Jordan. Yeah, I'm
you're
MJ.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I always have Jordan.
Okay.
Again, when we put so much success as a society on winning, if you're 6-0 in the finals, that to me, that's going to hold a different weight.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, you got swept in some other series. Didn't lose the finals.
Wow.
Didn't lose the finals.
Yep.
And we talk about ring chasing, right? And everyone's like, KD, like KD's my favorite player of all time.
Yeah.
But people like, he went to Golden State. When we've constructed this thing talking about greatness of how many rings that's the main measuring stick.
Yeah.
Why are we hating on players for going to chase them?
Yeah.
That's our fault. We constructed this ourselves as media and fans.
And then we use it against them.
And we use it against them when they go and try and get one.
Hypocritical behaviour.
Why? That option's there for you to go do it.
Yeah.
Put the shoe on your foot. You're doing it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, those two. Then it gets a little tricky.
Surely you've answered this question many times.
I don't think I have actually, to be honest, because normally it's just like who's the GOAT.
It is very tough.
I probably got Larry Bird in there, to be honest.
I love that. People don't give him enough credit on a Mount Rushmore status.
Yeah, like I love Larry Bird.
He doesn't make a lot of people's Mount Rushmores, which surprises me because I'm like, his story, I've watched documentaries on Larry Bird. It's insane, man. He's like, his repetition of what he did from a basketball standpoint. Yeah. It was like, when he went out, it's actually clockwork because of how hard he trained on his shot and stuff. And his shot was quite unique.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it's not a normal sort of, it's not a shot you teach kids.
So I'm thinking like Kobe or Shaq type thing.
Good. No Bill Russell, no Wilt.
Again, I wasn't around, so it's hard to like...
Yeah, as Dane Swan would say, they were playing firemen and
regardless of what they were, though, the numbers and the stats are what they are. But like, I still want to see Wilt's 100-point game, some footage.
Yeah.
That's all I want to see.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have to leave that one open.
Okay.
I have to leave that one
open. All right, we'll make it. This will be more fun. Your favorite players
of all time.
Yeah, that you.
KD,
number one.
Number one. Steve Nash.
Steve Nash, like that.
Steve Nash
MVP winner.
Two-time MVP winner.
Yeah, but he stole one of Shaq, supposedly.
I think it was a series called NBA Ankle Breakers. Yeah, and that's when I first found out he was born in South Africa.
Oh, Nash.
Yeah, grew up in Canada.
He's got because he's got like a soccer connection too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can juggle and stuff.
Do all of that. Yeah. Love Steve Nash. Kind of why I tried to model my game around was Steve Nash. Pistol Pete Maravich.
Oh, yeah, that's where you got your nickname?
That's why I got given.
Yeah.
Same college jerseys.
Wow, that's cool.
Just the college buckets he had without like a 3-point line is
special.
Absurd,
what
man.
Era was he? 80s, 70s?
No, around, yeah.
Did he play in the Celtics?
You gone plumbers, are you? You going back down the plumber?
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to get to? He's playing against plumbers?
No, actually wasn't.
Last one, as I said, like I was a big Duke fan. I wanted to say JJ. But again, if we're talking about, again, straight like favourites, like I did get to watch like that very early on, but obviously I've seen full games and stuff of Mike. I've still got to put Mike up there.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Like, it just love that tenacity, and we see all these other things about it.
Oh, mate.
So Jordan's up there.
Well, I appreciate it. Pistol, what an episode. Guys, let us know your Mount Rushmore in the comments. It's always contentious. If you guys are here, please give us a like and subscribe. We absolutely love you for this show. Pistol Pete, great guest.
Always blame.
We're going to have to run it back. We could run it on any sport with you. Any. Yeah, you
I'm a footy boundary rider
now. You're a boundary rider on Triple M right now. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hey, mate, appreciate you coming on, bro.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.